You're surrounded by people, laughing, talking, pretending to be present, and you've never felt more alone in your life? It's not the room. It's not them. It's you, and you know it. Oh, let me introduce myself. I'm Zeus. And before you ask, yes, that's Zeus. I've watched you long enough to know that the loneliest ones, they're never the ones sitting alone in empty rooms. They're the ones drowning in a sea of faces, screaming silently, hoping someone will notice they're disappearing. But here's what you won't admit. Loneliness isn't something that happens to you. It's something you carry like a shadow, like a curse, like a choice you made so long ago you forgot it was a choice, and it follows you everywhere. Even here, especially here. Let me show you why. You know where the loneliest place on earth is. It's not a desert. It's not an island. It's not solitary confinement. It's a party where everyone knows your name. A family dinner where everyone talks, but nobody hears. A relationship where you sleep next to someone and wake up alone. Loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the presence of people who don't see you. And worse, people you won't let see you. Because here is the truth you've been running from. You're not lonely because you're alone. You're lonely because you're hiding, in plain sight, behind smiles, behind small talk, behind the performance of being fine. You show up, you laugh at the right moments. You nod when you're supposed to. You say, "I'm good," when someone asks. And inside, you're screaming. Inside, you're vanishing. Inside, you're wondering if anyone would notice if you just stopped showing up. They wouldn't. And you know why? Because you never actually showed up in the first place. You sent a representative, a mask, a version of yourself that's safe, acceptable, easy to be around. But that version isn't you. And deep down, you know, if they don't see the real you, they can't reject the real you. So you stay hidden, protected, isolated, and you call that loneliness, like it's something that happened to you, like you're a victim, like you didn't architect your own isolation brick by brick by brick. You learned this young. Somewhere, somehow, you learned that being yourself wasn't safe, that showing what you actually feel gets you hurt, that vulnerability is weakness, that needing people makes you a burden. So you built a wall, and you decorated it so well, people think it's you. They think the mask is your face. They compliment the performance. They like the character you play. And you smile, and you die a little more inside, because the attention isn't for you. It's for the act. And you know the difference. You feel the difference. Every single time someone says they know you, you feel the distance, the gap, the lie. You're praised for being strong, independent, low maintenance, easygoing, and every compliment is a nail in the coffin, because what they're really saying is, "We like you because you do you and they need anything from us. We like you because you're not inconvenient. We like you because you don't make us feel anything uncomfortable." So you give them what they want. You stay small. You stay easy. You stay hidden, and you wonder why nobody knows you. Why nobody asks deeper questions. Why nobody fights to understand you. Why nobody seems to care if you're actually okay. They don't ask because you trained them not to. You built the wall. You taught them the performance is real. You convinced everyone, including yourself, that the mask is the face. And now you're trapped. Behind your own protection, alone in your own fortress, screaming through soundproof walls that nobody can hear through because you built them that way. On purpose, here's what you refuse to see. You chose loneliness over rejection. You chose isolation over intimacy. You chose the safety of hiding over the risk of being seen. Because being seen is terrifying. Being known is dangerous. Being loved for who you actually are means they could stop loving you when they see the parts you hate, the parts you're ashamed of. The parts you've spent years hiding, even from yourself. So you show them the edited version, the filtered you, the highlight reel, the performance, and they love it. Te accept italiano. They validate it. And you feel nothing, because they're not loving you. They're loving the costume, the character, the lie. But at least they're not rejecting the real you. At least they're not leaving. At least you're safe. Safe and alone. Protected and unseen. Surrounded and invisible. You go to events. You smile. You make small talk about nothing. Surface-level conversations that never go deeper than the weather, work, weekend plans, and you come home exhausted, drained, more lonely than before. Because connection without depth isn't connection. It's transaction. It's performance. It's two actors reading lines to each other, waiting for the scene to end so they can go back to being alone. You text people. They text back. Shallow exchanges. Memes. Emojis. Haha. Yeah. Totally. We should hang soon. You never do. And you both know you never will. But at least you're staying in touch. At least you're maintaining friendships. At least you're trying. Except you're not. You're maintaining the illusion of connection while avoiding actual connection. You're keeping people close enough to not be alone, but far enough to stay safe. Comment below. What mask are you wearing right now? What version of yourself are people praising that isn't actually you? I already know. But you need to say it out loud. You don't want to answer no, because saying it out loud makes it real. You're building a graveyard of shallow relationships and calling it a social life. Look at the people around you. Really look. Did you choose them, or did you choose people who wouldn't ask too much, who wouldn't dig too deep, who wouldn't require you to be vulnerable? You didn't attract unavailable people by accident. You didn't end up surrounded by surface-level friendships by chance. You picked them carefully, specifically. You chose the friend who only talks about themselves. Why? Because it means you never have to talk about yourself. Perfect. You chose the partner who's emotionally distant. Why? Because it means you never have to risk real intimacy. Safe. You chose the social circle that only meets for drinks and small talk. Why? Because depth is scary and shallow is comfortable. Easy. You surrounded yourself with people who won't ask, "How are you?" Really, because if they asked, you'd have to answer. And if you answered, you'd have to admit you're not fine. And if you admitted that, the mask would crack. And if the mask cracked, they might see you. And if they saw you, they might leave. So you chose people guaranteed to keep you lonely. People who mirror your avoidance. People who play the same game. People who need you to stay surface level because they're terrified of depth too. And now you're all drowning together. In the same room, at the same party, surrounded by each other. Alone together. A room full of people hiding from each other. Performing connection. Faking intimacy. Pretending presence. It's the loneliest thing I've ever seen. And I've seen civilizations fall. You say you want connection. You say you want to be seen. You say you want someone who understands you. You're lying. What you actually want is the feeling of connection without the risk of it. The validation without the vulnerability. The closeness without the exposure. The love without the fear of losing it. You want someone to magically know you without you having to show them. To understand ye. Without you having to explain. To love you without you having to trust them with the real you. And when they can't read your mind, when they don't automatically understand, when they can't see through the mask you worked so hard to perfect, you blame them. You call them shallow. You say they don't get you. You say nobody ever does. They don't get you because you won't let them. You're locked behind a door and blaming people for not breaking it down. You're hiding in a forest and angry. Nobody's finding you. You're wearing camouflage and mad people can't see you. Real intimacy requires you to drop the mask, to stop performing, to risk being seen and rejected, to show the ugly parts, the broken parts, the parts you're ashamed of, the parts you hate. And you're not willing to do that, because what if they see you and leave? What if they know you and decide you're too much, too broken, too damaged, too weird, too intense, too needy? So you stay hidden, stay safe, stay lonely. If you're still here, you're recognizing yourself in this. Subscribe for more uncomfortable truths. Most people run. You're still watching. That means something. And now, you're at a breaking point. You can't keep doing this. You know you can't. The loneliness is eating you alive. The performance is exhausting. The isolation is suffocating. You're tired of pretending. Tired of smiling through the emptiness. Tired of going home after being surrounded by people and feeling more alone than if you'd stayed home. You're tired of surface-level conversations that go nowhere. Tired of friendships that feel like acquaintanceships. Tired of relationships where you're emotionally alone even when physically together. You're tired of being the strong one, the independent one, the one who doesn't need anything, the one everyone leans on but nobody checks on. You're tired of screaming silently, of hoping someone will notice, of waiting for someone to ask the deeper question, of praying someone will see through the mask without you having to take it off. But nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to force you to be real. Nobody's going to drag you out of hiding. Nobody's going to make you drop the mask. You have to do it yourself. And that's the part that terrifies you most. Because dropping the mask means risking everything you've been protecting yourself from. Rejection, judgment, abandonment, confirmation of your worst fear, that the real you isn't enough, isn't lovable, isn't worth knowing. But here's what you're not considering. What if the mask is why you're lonely? What if the protection is the prison? What if hiding is the problem, not the solution? What if the real you, messy and broken and imperfect, is actually more lovable than the performed version? What if vulnerability is what creates connection, not destroys it? What if being seen is scary, but isolation is worse? You have two options. Only two. Option 1, keep the mask, keep the wall, keep the performance, stay safe, stay protected, stay hidden, stay lonely. Die surrounded by people who knew your name but never knew you, who attended your funeral and eulogized the person who never actually existed, who said nice things about the character you played but never met the real you. Live your entire life as a ghost. Present but not seen. There but not known. Surrounded but alone. Option 2. Drop the mask. Risk rejection. Risk being seen. Risk someone knowing you and deciding you're not enough. But also risk connection. Real connection. The kind where someone knows your darkness and doesn't run. Where someone sees your broken parts and stays. Where someone understands your silence without you having to perform. Risk being loved for who you actually are, not the edited version. Not the performance, not the mask. It won't be everyone. Most people will leave. Most people will prefer the comfortable version. Most people will reject the real you because the real you requires them to be real too, and they're not ready for that. But the ones who stay, the ones who see you and don't run, the ones who know your mess and choose you anyway, those are your people. Those are the connections that cure loneliness, not surface-level friendships with hundreds, deep knowing with a few. Loneliness doesn't follow you because you're unlovable. It follows you because you won't let anyone close enough to prove you wrong. It follows you because you built the walls. You chose the mask. You selected the safe people who'd never ask you to be real. It follows you into crowded rooms because you're not actually there. You sent the representative, the performance, the lie, and until you show up, actually show up, as the real, messy, broken, complicated you, loneliness will follow you everywhere, to every party, every relationship, every friendship, every moment of your life. You can be surrounded by 1,000,000 people and feel completely alone. Because quantity doesn't cure loneliness. Depth does. Being known does. Being seen does. And you can be with one person and feel completely connected if that one person actually knows you. If you let them in, if you drop the mask long enough to let them see the real you. The cure for loneliness isn't finding the right people. It's being the real you with whoever's there. It's risking rejection for the chance of connection. It's choosing vulnerability over safety. It's showing up instead of sending the performance. You wanted me to tell you why loneliness follows you. Now you know it's not them. It's not the world. It's not bad luck or wrong people or circumstances. It's you. Hiding. Protecting. Performing. Staying safe at the cost of being known. Loneliness follows you because you're running from the one thing that cures it. Being seen. And you can't be seen if you won't show yourself. So here's your choice. Keep running. Keep hiding. Keep the mask. Keep the loneliness. Or stop. Drop the wall. Risk rejection. Risk being known. Risk discovering that the real you is lovable. That being seen is scary, but isolation is worse. That vulnerability creates connection, not destroys it. I'll keep watching. I've got eternity. Most of you will keep the mask. Most of you will choose safety over connection. Most of you will die, surrounded and alone. Prove me wrong. Next time, I reveal why you feel empty after getting everything you chased. Why success didn't cure the void. Why having it all still feels like nothing. The lie you bought. The dream that failed. The moment you realized winning wasn't enough. See you then, if you're brave enough to face it.